Okay, so we're here because we were originally supposed to play some Trophy Dark, but now it's turned into in Dreaming Avalon with our inevitable characters because why the fuck not? Mads, they, them pronouns, and Jazy, go ahead, introduce yourself.
Yeah, Jazy, she, her pronouns, and I will be bringing Kirian into the dreaming again.
And I will be bringing Stormshawl back because I've been on hiatus for a little bit, but like why not? Because these characters are in different cadres, and let's bring these two characters that probably would not meet normally, and see what happens in the dreaming. So
Absolutely.
yeah, let's see
Um,
what this looks like.
so
Uh,
let me read the little introduction on how to play.
yeah.
Um, I think for safety, we'll just use the inevitable safety sheet, and the usual ones are in place.
Yep.
Um, what orchard is this, we fairies, we knights, in which we meet? It is the orchard of dreaming inevitable, the sacred Isle of Apples, the golden summer crown of fairyland. We knights, late of King Rubane's round at Knightsholm, we knights are travelers here. We lost our way upon the mortal road, or else lay beside it to sleep, and so dreamed ourselves to this strange place. And we fairies, we are the court of the Twilight Queen, Morgan Le Fay. We also slept once, perhaps, and were mortal in ancient and forgotten time. But now we are fairies, and our waking life is yet our dream. What will we hear, we fairies, we knights, to while away our dreaming hour? It says 4 to 6 players. Um, I think this can be a duet game. There will be a few times where we need an audience, but then the other player, we can just sort of do both roles.
Yeah.
Um, Cards, we'll get there when we get there. I did have a playing card IO for yesterday, so maybe if I can get that one back, I'll get that in a second.
Yeah.
To play, take turns around the table. Once it's your turn, you can choose a mini game to play. We turn to the page of that playbook and follow the rules we find there. We will go around the table at least once, probably more because it's only the two of us, and then we can end the game whenever we choose. The object of the game is to fall in love. Play the games to find out who falls in love with whom or not, and what they do about it. Rounds are, we'll just go in rounds. You can choose a mini game. You can choose any game you want except Waking the End game, which you should keep as the very last game. The general rule, you can always read out what is written verbatim. You can fill in any blanks from your own imagination. You can ad-lib instead if you like. You should convey the thrust of what's written and try not to contradict what's written. Either way, you can always elaborate freely. You can always invite someone to cut in line because it's the two of us. I think that would look probably like, hey, do you want to play this game now?
Hmm.
You can technically get killed, but don't let that stop you. This is a dream, and in this court, that's an insult or an indignity, nothing worse. You can remind people that you got killed, or you can just say, well, I got better. The themes and content, as mentioned in Dreaming Avalon, is about love, romance, sex, and vulnerability. But all the games are designed with active consent and emotional well-being of the players in mind. Um, we will have our usual safety tools from our safety sheet from Inevitable and the X Guard open door policy. And if you want to change like any scene after you played it or you want to fast forward, we can also do all of that. Normally there is a character creation here. I think the only thing that it kind of that I think makes it a little bit easier if one of us is a fairy or a fae and one of us is a knight. Um, I think
Well,
it probably makes, yeah,
you should
more
be the knight
sense. Yeah.
because we're going to be introducing our characters anyway, and I think
Mhm.
it makes sense that Stormshawl is kind of like the Fae type of character because honestly, they never said where he came from. Like he was left
Ooh.
with his mentor to be trained in a cave. So who the
That
hell
sounds
knows?
very changeling to me.
Yeah. So
Yeah. You can, if you want to follow the on page 9, there is like a little blurb for the knights, and then page 10 for the fairies, if you want to like follow that there. structure for introducing yourself, but yeah.
That is
I am
hilarious. I'm just looking because it's like some of these adjectives are already his reputations and
yeah.
inevitable.
I'm just gonna say his reputations, I think.
Yes,
Yeah. Um,
that reputation. Sorry.
so I am Kirian, he, him pronouns. I am a knight of King Rubane's court. I fell asleep in my travels and so came here to Dreaming Avalon. In appearance, I am, I don't know if you've ever seen the picture, but he has like, he's tall, more light than like very muscled appearance. He wears the royal colors, the violets and the purples. Um, over like a suit of mail. So it's almost like that Witcher vibe of like, like cloth and then like the occasional mail that you can see through. He has like shoulder length, slightly wavy dark hair, dark skin, very dark eyes. Um, and he has a mythic sword called Compassion on his side, and on his hip, and on the other hip rests Saga the Seventh. And on his back is his shield bearing the royal emblem of Knightsholm. In character, his reputations from Inevitable are valiant, inspiring, pacifist, and trusting. So that should give you sort of the vibe, I think.
Ah, yeah. So I am a I'm Stormshawl. I am a fairy of dreaming inevitable. I appear as a mortal person, except that my eyes are gleaming white blue to violet and back again. Otherwise, in appearance, I am dressed in a capelet shawl type of garment that covers my tunic and my uh, like road clothes, and I have a sturdy pair of boots on my feet, and I seem to have lost my hat along the way. So you see my uh, my features and my hair is like close cropped to my head. I just have like some like a 5 o'clock shadow kind of thing going on. If you've seen my picture, and it looks like I have a bag slung underneath that shawl type of thing. And my pronouns are he, him, and my uh, reputations are, let's see, rash, underhanded, brooding, and uncontrollable.
Do you want to pick the first game?
um, Chance meetings sounds good to start with because like I think Stormshaw is kind of like maybe if we kind of like take it from the fact that he's already stuck in the purple moon dimension or whatever, then he's kind of
Ooh.
like wandering around and like maybe he finds himself here in the dreaming anyway. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
where to meet. So what does it look like? Let's see. Um. Oh, this is great. I think we meet in a garden of night blooming flowers under what looks like Inevitable's crystalline stars, with the moons very prominent, the two moons, Ezra and Constance. And I think there's a shadow um, of what uh, Stormshaw had seen or had done, where like in the distance, it's like maybe we see the shadow of a violet, but very pale violet moon, maybe like kind of lurking behind Constance and Ezra. Um, but yeah, it's mostly the stars that we see right now. Ask the counterpart the opening question. What do you first notice about me? And let's see, what do I first notice about you? I think in this place, in this garden, maybe I think there's like as I'm wandering, and I actually, I think I'm just noticing how clear it is. And I'm not using my powers or anything like that. I'm just kind of like admiring the stars and just taking a breath because I'm only just starting to get over the the confrontation, I guess, back in hubris, and I am just enjoying this moment of peace where I don't have to think about anything, and I'm realizing that now I'm in a different place. I'm not in the alternate dimension hubris. I'm actually in this beautiful place of these flowers with these scents that I don't think I've ever smelled before. And it's clear, but it's not dry. It's not like musty smelling like like Myth usually is. And I see you there. I am like I see a knight of Myth here, and it's not Balfour. And you're younger, and I don't know whether I want to go to you thinking that it's just an illusion or if I'm just going to watch to see what you do first. Are you sniffing the flowers? Are you noticing me? Are you paying attention to the stars? What do you think you're doing? Or, like, do you notice me? And what do you notice about me?
Yeah, um I think we sort of get that very classic image of, a log on the floor, um, with these like flowers, like almost like this elfish, like it's created to be avenged, right? Like it's very natural, but it's like very comfortable at the same time. I think Kirian was sitting there looking up at the stars and the moons. Um, and I think he was like almost idly making like a flower crown or like a flower something. I think it's hard to see, but I think he was making something with that. Almost as, like a just keep your hands busy kind of thing, right? Um, but whether I think in sort of this dream logic way, he just like feels your approach more than he doesn't hear it, definitely not. Because he has a hearing disability. Although I think maybe in a dreaming he doesn't. Or it's like different, more quiet. Um, but he looks at you and he will give you a very friendly smile. And I think what he notices about you are two things. I think he notices immediately sort of that melancholy, that sadness that still lingers over you, given that confrontation, and probably like whatever has happened to you here has left some of that on you. And I think he will notice that. And in response, his expression will soften compassionately. Um, and he will reach for like a flask, like his water skin, um, and very gently like offer it to you, as in a like, come sit by the fire, have, hospitality is offered to you. Um, and I think the other thing that he notices is, I think from his perspective, when he sees you, if you're okay with it, because you're sort of have been trapped in this weird dimension, like he's been in a dream before, but you look more of a like a part of it. Like I think visually he kind of like stands out a little bit because he isn't part of the dreaming, he's just in it. But you seem more like a part of it. Like you are, like the same whatever dreamy effect is happening to the background, to the flowers, to everything else is also happening to you, at least when he looks at you.
I don't know if you're a mirage. I, and then he will come to you and slowly reach for the flask, you said?
Yeah, like a water skin, I think. Yeah.
And when he touches the water skin, he's like kind of hesitant and then real. How'd you get here?
Mm. I don't know. I just am here, I think. And he kind of like looks, in that Inception type of way where you never remember how you got to where you are in a dream. You just were. And I think he like kind of remembers that, like, oh, I actually don't remember. He kind of shrugs it off and says, My name is Sir Kirian. Who are you?
S- Stormshawl. I belong to Sir Balfour's cadre, and he will screw your water skin and drink some.
Some type of expression, I think, comes over Kirian's face because I think he feels like he should remember something about Balfour. But in this moment in the dream, it doesn't come to him.
Welcome to this place, I guess. I mean, this part actually is new to me as well. Um, it smells nice.
It does. I don't think I've ever seen flowers like these. They're beautiful.
No, you don't see flowers like this in, well, at least I haven't. Not in myth, anyway.
No, in myth, the flowers are dying,
Yeah,
but I suppose everything is.
yeah. Here, sorry. I didn't drink it all.
Don't worry. That's all right. You seem wary.
Yeah, I don't know how long you've been here, but I've been here for a bit.
I I don't know that either. Just a moment, I presume.
Lucky. I've had more than a few moments to think on things.
Mm.
Well, sir.
That can be rough.
Yeah. Do you,
Mm.
do you remember? Well, do you remember what you were doing before you got here?
I think I was home, except it didn't really feel like home anymore. Or maybe it did, but changed already. There is something important I need to do, something I need to find, something I need to stop, but I don't remember what that is. Maybe that's why I dream of flowers. My mother has many flowers in her home. Sometimes she goes to the violet fields and she dries them so that they don't die, but they can be preserved.
They say that out of bloodshed comes life. Violet Fields has seen more than enough. So that's why it looks so rich and lush now.
Did at some point, but now the flowers are just dying. It's like a purple haze in the wind. All these petals. Soon there will just be just sand.
Well, hopefully Hopefully the cadres can stop it.
New flowers will grow. I don't doubt it. And I think my question for you is, or I think we can go to offers if you want to.
Sure.
Yeah, you get to choose.
Okay. Oh man. I'm just like, and it's almost like seeing you here, it's like there's like kind of like a new light in his eyes, even though like the lights have been changing you've been talking with him, and there's a different gleam where they stay on a purple that purple light as he looks kind of like in the distance further along. Huh. think I think we can go to the masked ball.
Okay.
And he kind of like shakes himself a little bit and it's like, I don't know where that came from, but it seems that we are able to go to a masked ball, it seems. Okay.
Okay. You can conduct it. It's still your turn. I also see that Elle is awake, so I don't know if we want to. Elle got by hammer time, huh?
I hammer time because it's like
I've done that. Yep.
but I mean like it's so funny because it's like when you look at the thing but you're in a different time zone from when the game is actually
Yep.
played, it's like, oh yeah, duh.
When I was in the States, there were like quite a few games, and I was like, oh man, this is so great. Like all of these games suddenly are like so approachable for me. Like these are all times that I could do when usually I can't play with these people. And then like as I think a few times as I was about to say like, oh yeah, I'm like, no, no, Jazzy, no. That's not, no. Those that would be 2 a.m. for you when you're back home. Like, yeah, now it's 5 p.m. or what have you, but no, 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 no. Don't you do it.
Too funny.
Uh,
Yeah. 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 I'm currently boring, so it's like, it doesn't change for me. Aw. The Maki shot. Hi, bud. Hi, bud. Hello.
Isn't he a cutie pie?
He's a cutie pie.
Lately, he's just taken to like flopping like on the desk, just fully stretched out.
So not judging, but flopping. Nice.
Not judging the flopping.
I
But the
like it.
problem is he'll put a paw like on the touchpad of my laptop and just like randomly like click on tabs and stuff. And I'm like, no, I actually need this one tab with the character keeper.
Whoopsie. Whoopsie doodle. Okay. All right, ball. Dances with whom? Okay, so. All right, so we can pretend to be other dancers or what have you, I suppose. Let's see.
Yeah, I guess if we need NPCs, we can just
Yeah, we'll
make them
just.
up. I imagine it's like sort of that dream world logic
Hmm.
where, there are a bunch of other people, but, they don't matter in the dream. It's
No, they
just
don't.
us. Yeah.
Maybe, well, because basically, since like you're the only other person that he knows, it's like kind of like maybe there's something about the other people that are just
Hmm.
uh-oh. Actually, I have a perfect thing if you don't mind me experimenting with this. So,
Sure.
all right. Okay, so everyone can play, but anyone can choose to sit out. During the ball, anyone can ask anyone for details about the setting, occasion, and circumstances. Object of the ball. Play to find out who dances with whom, what it reveals about you, and how it changes your relationships. Okay. So, before the dance, go once around the circle to describe your masks. On your turn, briefly describe it and say whether it's, and then choose one or two from the list. Or instead of a mere mask, you're fully transformed. Describe how. So let's decide. Are we wearing a mask when we enter this space? Okay, so I imagine that Stormshaw is leading the way because it's like he sees something like with his eyes, And like, we go from this garden, um and then we follow this pathway that seems to be crowned with the night blooming flowers, and we go through an archway, and it leads into this space that looks a little bit like the uh what is it, the throne room, but it's
Mhm.
not the throne room because of like, we don't see Rubain, we don't see Isildur, and such, but it does resemble something in the palace itself.
Mhm.
um but we don't recognize anybody, or at least I, Stormshawl doesn't from the last time he was there. Like, there's no Levere, there's no, like, like, again, none of the royals, and none of the usual, like, sentries, like,
Mhm.
on guard or anything like that. It's just a bunch of anonymous people wearing masks, and then, like, some are actually wearing full costume, or they look like costumes. Like, maybe there's like a kind of like a lion person. Maybe there's, like, like how you see, like, heraldry. Like, maybe there's, like,
Mhm.
somebody, like, kind of like, looks like a full-on griffin, but it's not.
Yeah.
And such. And then some people are wearing, like, half masks or full masks of different creatures and such. And I think when Stormshaw puts a hand to his face, um, I think he feels like there's something on his face, but he can't quite see it. Um, but he can tell that it's got feathers on it, and it also has, kind of like jewels, like, stuck, like, over by one eye, because of, like, he's just kind of touching it and, like, just feeling what it has. Um, so yeah, I mean, he can sort of see, like, from the eye holes, that it's got, like kind of like feathers hanging on off of one side. Um, and it looks like the rest of him has changed, where it as if all of his clothing, it's the same, but now it's completely all in gray, like dark gray, like in an elegant cloth of some sort, like not his usual road gear. Even his boots are like of, like, some kind of, like, you know clean leather, which, it's like, what's this, so yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. I think I love the idea that we sort of, like step through the door and our outfits just like, the camera pans away, pans back, and we're just in like different,
Hmm.
like very dream, like, oh, I guess I'm just wearing this, right? Like
Hmm.
this is a thing now. And I think for Kirian, I don't know if Stormshawl has ever been to Crow's Perch or the Cradle's Range.
Mm-mm.
But I think his clothing, because I think it's a fun idea that in his dream self wanted to model his like dancing outfit after the most handsome person he knows, which is of course Elston. Like he's not consciously thinking that, but sort of like in that dream logic, like tries to emulate that. Um, and I think like his outfit seems almost more like a tail weaver's outfit. Like, like very colorful, like something that would stand out in a tavern full of people with from all kinds, walks of life and then outfits and cultures of what they might wear. But like very much like it's got that like colorful but stylish element to it. Like very different from his like very mythic and knightly wardrobe that he was wearing before. And I think his masks is made out of like crow's feathers. But like rather than like your typical gothic look, I think it also maybe has like a little white from like the magpie vibes in it. So it got like more um like more upbeat and more cheerful, I think, than your typical like crow association. And I think from sort of like the sides of it is hanging like little bells so that he always like makes a little jingle when he walks. Um yeah, I think that's his outfit.
I think when we step in and then we look at each other through, like, in our different outfits and such, yeah, Stormshawl doesn't know what you see, but he knows that his outfit is obviously fully changed, you know, in terms of like color and such with the mask. And he would definitely be the worst dancer, but he hears the music strike, you know, like at strike up, and then he sees the people like, you know, go into formation, and somehow he just, yeah, I mean, he doesn't care. Our masks make me bold. I take your hand, take hold of you, step close. Do you welcome me or do you hold yourself distant?
Think I think it's sort of that like neutral, non-commitment body language. I don't think if you step closer, he steps back, but he doesn't exactly lean in or anything either. It's more like a an acceptance, like you are. I'm sorry, Maki pressed a button. I'm sorry, boy. You need to go because you keep pressing buttons. Activated some kind of Windows mode that I don't even knew existed. Does that? He'll press buttons and Windows will be like, "Oh, do you want to activate this?" And I'm like, "No,
No!
I don't know what that is. Leave me alone. Where is the anti-cat mode that I can activate?"
Like anti-cat lock.
Honestly. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, yeah. No, I think like he accepts that you step closer. But he doesn't exactly like lean in or like again, like sort of almost like observing, like wanting to see what you are going to do. Not rejecting, but not, I guess, necessarily inviting.
Hmm.
Like just like that very polite, like courtly way of, I just want to see what you're going to do. But I think he does sort of give you a curious look as to, I guess, why. It's sort of that curiosity, like, okay, maybe. Um,
And he will, you know, when he steps close, he'll say he'll say close to your ear, "I'm sorry if this is too forward, but there's someone over there that just reminds me of someone that I left behind, and I don't want to deal with them right now. I'm sorry."
don't be. You're all right. And I think in that case, Kieran will like hold you like almost comfortably, like in almost like a hug more than anything else. Like we'll take you a little closer and spin you around so you don't have to look in that direction anymore. Um, but I think as we are dancing, um, the dancing figures bring you to dance with someone else, whom, and when the dance brings you back to me, are you pleased or disappointed?
You see a smile, like, you know, on Stormshawl's face, partially of relief, but also of, like, you know, genuine pleasure. Of, I'm glad I'm back. And you see his eyes, you know, glow um, back to like a white blue. Good to be back.
I think, who did you dance with? Was it that person that you were trying to avoid?
Luckily, no. But they didn't feel as comfortable as I do with you right now.
I think there's a slight blush, but Kirian will just smile, um, say, well, if they separate us again, I'll try to find you.
That would be appreciated. But you may, at this moment in the dance, place your hand upon my elbow, my shoulder, my waist, or my hip. Which do you choose?
Ooh. Hmm, think I think he's sort of been I imagining like this very classic like waltz type of like starting position that they have been in. So like, a hand here and then a hand like sort of holding you like this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think he will smile at you and maybe, like sort of in as we turn around, there's like a little bit of the momentum that catches us a little too hard. And I think he will, that hand that was like very politely like on your shoulder here, I think it will slip a little to like the back of your shoulder
Mm-hmm.
to hold you a little closer. Um, and touch a little more of you, but still in like what from everyone's perspective, like if this were a real chord,
Mm-hmm.
in a way that would still sort of be acceptable in public, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like still very chaste. But holding you a little closer, that hand will slip over um, Moonshell's shoulder.
Stormshawl.
Sorry, what did I say?
You said Moonshawl.
Moonshell. I'm so sorry.
No!
There's a moon child. There's a moon dust. And there's a shipping name. I'm shipping it even while we're trying to get
No, we're not
Kirian
trying to ship
Stormshawl
that
together.
anymore. Oh my
Sorry. The
god,
ship
that's
is
fine. The
over.
ship is over, unfortunately.
Done.
We're done. We're
Kirian is a
done.
home wrecker.
Yeah. No, it's fine. It's because, well, I
I'm
mean,
so sorry. I was reading what Elle was saying and my brain went
yeah, because, well,
Stormshawl.
Moon,
I
yeah,
got
Moon,
you. I got
Moonchild,
you.
Moonchild, like already kind of wrecked that, wrecked that ship. Ah,
It's done.
it's done. It's really done. But anyway, how do you, how do you, put,
Yeah, my question for you is I'm sorry, Mads. I have to do this to
what?
you.
Go ahead. What?
My hair has fallen in front of my ear. Do you touch my face?
Oh yes. I can't help it. I can't help it because, well, actually, okay, here's exactly what happens. So, you're drawing me a little bit closer, and he's looking directly into your eyes, but he notices that your hair has kind of like dislodged itself from around your mask and such, and has just fallen down. And he can't help himself because it, you know, you're right there and it's really close, and he will reach out and like move it to tuck it back behind your ear, and when he brushes his hand you know behind your ear, like he will like let the heel of his palm like brush against your cheek. What does that feel like to you when he does that?
think I think Kirian, it's one of those things, not that he like doesn't like it, but he is like not very used to that kind of like very forward. But I think in this moment it feels because of the weird dreaming and like all of these people sort of being almost anonymous. I think his initial reaction is he goes a little still, as if he isn't like not rejecting, but as if he's like sort of processing. But I think then he will give Stormshawl a small shy smile, and you can see from under the mask like definitely a blush coloring his cheeks. But I don't think he will pull away because there is that moment of like almost like privacy, even though we are on a ballroom. But like I think he kind of gives you that private smile, like like sharing a private joke or a private moment. Um, like it's just between the two of us, and that's okay.
Oh, these questions are so good.
Right? Also, we've been around twice, so you can end it anytime you want, but you can also continue, of course.
Right.
We can do whatever
Exactly.
we want.
You have the opportunity to draw me close and hold me for a moment. Do you take it?
Hmm. Don't think so. I think you can sort of feel that hand maybe slide like a little bit further, like between your shoulder blades, as if he's going to.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I imagine like it's sort of in that plausible deniability of like, the turns where, you have to hold on to each other a little bit closer so you don't, like the momentum doesn't take you. And maybe, I imagine it's the grand ball moment, like the music is swelling, everybody's like having a grand time. We're like a little bit faster in the movements. So I think you feel that like that almost there. But then I think something in the dream, not quite a memory because he can't give it a name, he can't give it a place, but there is something in Kirian that reminds or like thinks of someone else when he is about to actually hold you, and you are not that person, even though in this dream he can't remember who that person is. But there is that sense of this is important and this is something that you shouldn't do. So I think you kind of feel the Stormshawl will feel like, the almost hug and then the very polite, like not again, not like fully stepping away, but like the little bit, like the squaring of the shoulders, the straightening of the posture, instead of leaning in, that slight distance created again.
And I think that Stormshaw will feel that hesitation, and his eyes will glow um, purple in that moment as he kind of like closes his eyes and just kind of like, bows his head a little bit in acknowledgement of that. And I think this is where like we almost hear like three drum beats, and then wherever the dance is around us, I think everybody kind of like pauses in their place and then claps as if the masked ball has come to its inevitable end.
When the dance ends, will you stand with me or rush away?
I mean, Stormshaw will stand with you, of course, just kind of giving you a shy smile, and he'll like release you politely and then clap with everybody else, of course, you know. Um, and he will like remove his mask, so you could see his eyes fully. And I think as he's removing his mask, you will see a flash of his usual eyes, where they're not white blue, they're not purple, but they're actually like a dark brown and human. But then like it goes immediately back to like flashing between the two lights, as if this place has caught hold of him again. Like, he's very much in the dreaming, and, you know, this is
Mhm.
very much part of the dream.
Yeah, but I think for a moment, seeing those dark brown human eyes, it just kind of, Kirian once again has that feeling of those are not the right eyes. Those are not the eyes of the person that, not that should be here, but that person that he cannot quite remember. And I think he makes like a very polite, like knightly bow. And he doesn't like exactly rush away, but I think he does give you that bow. Will also take off his mask as is, polite to show you who he was. But then I think sort of in that dream logic, he will cut away, he will be gone. To our next game. Let's see. I'm just gonna pick some games that I haven't played yet.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Um, I think it would be really funny if you're okay with, or like interesting if you're okay with it.
Yeah.
To do meeting sword to sword, going from
Uh,
like a very romantic dance to like suddenly we're fighting.
sure, sure. Oh, this will be great. Okay.
That's actually right under the ball.
Yeah.
Choose a partner. Only you two play. Decide together how the two of you came to be standing alone, sword to sword, and where. What do you notice about each other? Um, I kind of like the idea that in like because Kirian's sort of been remembering this other person, it's like this like formal duel for honor because insult was given, except like neither of us like truly know like whose honor or whatever it's for, but it's just like, in that dream logic, it's just like you just kind of accept it, even though you don't have the full picture. Um, I think that could be interesting. Or if it's just we are in a fairy court, maybe they just wanted us to give them like a show, right?
Yeah. And I think that is the case. I mean, like, uh I think you'll see that Stormshaw's back in his gear. Like it's the right colors for his gear, and he will. It's almost like a what is it the preparation before the actual duel starts or whatever. So he will like cross his hand, like do a small bow to you, but then like he also uses that hand to start to remove his capelet. And what you see underneath this shawl thing that he wears is like he has a sleeveless vest, and he's kind of built underneath. I mean, like again, he's a road mage, and he's a little bit muscular underneath. um he's been that he does stuff. And instead of a sword, it's like what he does is that he has a wand, and when he kind of like whips it out to the side, it like actually turns into like kind of like a humming. I'm not going to say lightsaber type of thing, but I mean it's kind
Mhm.
of like a humming like electrical
Energy
beam.
sword.
Yeah, it's a humming electrical beam is basically what it
hmm
turns into.
Incredible. Um, what do you notice about each other? Is there anything that you notice? I think for Kirian, um, I mean, yeah, very much in his element, right? A duel, absolutely. It's what he thrives on. I think he's like his reputation is pacifist, and when it comes to like actually killing people, he is. But he does love his nightly duels. Again, like he very much drank that night Kool-Aid. He sees into the whole vibe. So I think we see him very much like, picture perfect knight standing there back in his royal garb, the male. Compassion is mythic steel fashioned to look almost like the steel is like it's like a rapier type sword, like a very elegant blade. In the middle is a little groove, like a little greave with a single droplet of holy water that like sort of like a water compass. It'll like if he dips his blade, the drop goes that way to allow really swift maneuvering. And it glows like a very faint violet, the color of royalty. The handguard of the sword is like fashioned like a wave, and it goes up on one side to really enable like disarming to make that really easy. And it's like again like very elegant and intricate, whites and blues and violets. Very clearly mythic steel, which I think maybe even in a dream Stormshawl may recognize. He has his shield bearing those royal colors. And I think we kind of get like that image, like the sun just like silhouetting, right? Like very much that, Arthurian cover type of picture as he stands ready. And I think what he will notice about Stormshawl um, is I think that peculiar weapon, like the magic of it all, and maybe a faint smell of rain.
Hmm. And you notice that instead of like having a shield, like he'll keep his capelet shawl in his hand, in his other hand.
Mm.
Yeah. Um, and then I think what Stormshawl notices about Sir Kirian is that he'll watch your feet. He'll watch to see how you ground yourself in your stance or how you shift your weight.
Yeah, I think it's very much not quite like a fencing stand, but I
Mm-hmm.
think Stormshawl, depending on how much like you know of martial arts and sword fighting, I think you know that Kirian is taking a stance that is definitely favoring um like speed and maneuverability
Mm-hmm.
over like pure strength.
Right.
Like maybe because you work with Balfour, who I assume has more of a just all my weight behind a blow
Mm-hmm.
kind of approach. You can see that this is a very different type of stance. Like this is a very light on my feet. I can go in every direction. Um, like kind of starting stance.
Well, when he looks at your sword, his eyebrows go up too because he notices very much how different it is from Balfour's sword. So,
Mhm. The object of swordplay. Play to find out how you regard one another as enemies and whether you are enemies in fact. To open play, ask a leading question. The better with the sword begins. I think that might be Kirian, but feel free to say if
oh,
you
I
think,
mean,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be Kirian. I mean,
Yeah, if you don't know who that is, choose as random, but we will say it's Kirian. Take turn asking leading questions back and forth. At any time after the third leading question, either of you can choose to ask one of the closing questions instead. Keep asking questions back and forth until an answer ends the swordplay. Note that some of the leading questions might end the swordplay, and some of the closing questions might allow swordplay to continue, depending on the answer. Um, Let me see. I think, Kieran will give you a very knightly greeting. Um, I don't imagine that the starting thing is on guard, but maybe whatever the starting like traditional greeting is, he will say, we circle, swords tips touching. What do you say to me?
Stormshawl's eyes are going to go again, glowing purple to the nebulous beings that are off to the side that we can't really see.
Mm-hmm.
And when our swords like kind of go tip to tip, he's going to say, "I really have no quarrel with you. I, they just want to see a show."
I think Kieran gives you a reassuring smile, says, I know. A duel doesn't have to be for a quarrel.
All right, but just so you know, sometimes I play for keeps.
Well, do not hold back.
Okay. So leading question to like you asked the leading
Mm-hmm.
question, and then I
Yeah, you ask one back, and then I can ask one, and from then on, you can either ask leading questions or closing questions.
okay, leading question. Okay, let's see. So I launch a sustained attack with my weight behind it, because I mean, imagine that since you're going for speedy and then you're lighter, um,
Mm-hmm.
you know, uh, Stormshaw's gonna use his like more bulk, um, you know, and use it. Do you give ground readily or grudgingly?
Uh, I think I think he does. At least for now, until maybe if we were to get to a point where he'd be out of the ring, so to speak, he would hold his ground. But I think for now, he can sort of maneuver, even though like you're attacking, he knows like where the space is. He's very aware of like how much room he has to run or give ground. And I think it's very much like every time like you launch or you try to get closer, he's already gone. As he is giving you ground and he's just like dodging and parrying and trying to get out of the way. I thrust and you barely turn it, a fraction slower and you'd been cut through. Does it exhilarate you or chill you? I imagine that maybe, like as we said, like you've been this sustained attack, Kirian has been on the back foot for a little bit, but then there is that line that would have been like the end. And I think like maybe as you sort of, you have to, I imagine, like, kind of gather all your weight behind this attack, right? And Kirian has been studying how long that takes you, how long, like, what is your pattern? And I think as you raise your hands, he lunges at you in like that exact, quick time event moment, and he will thrust his sword. Does it accelerate or chill you?
I think what also helps is the fact that like the shawl is his way
Mm-hmm.
of is also his way of using a shield. It's kind of like also helping to bat the sword um out of the way. Um it's exhilarating because you see him as he turns and kind of like creates this like wave of fabric and movement. It's like you see him turn and you see this grin like flash across his face as he like will like make the maneuver, and then like he grounds himself in his stance, and then like you still see that grin on his face, and he doesn't say anything, but he's settled
Mm-hmm.
into his stance
I
waiting for
think
you.
Kirian will sort of answer that smile. He promised not to hold back either.
I'm just going to lead in with a little bit of a narration. I think as he grins, then he's going to take that little pause to show you that he's fine with it, and then he's just going to do like kind of like a figure eight whipping motion with the shawl to kind of distract you. But then behind it comes his energy beam, and then like you all of a sudden like see this beam coming at you, and we lock swords, and your mouth is very near my ear. What do you say?
Hmm. What does he say? That's a good question. Think think he just compliments you on your stance and your fighting. I think he's very impressed. You're not a knight, but you fight like one.
I thank you. I had good teachers.
And then I think he will smile and say, but if you're playing for keeps, you might need to play a little harder. And then I think he will get that distance again. Um, and I will ask a closing question.
Hmm.
I mean, there's really only the one, isn't there? I think the fight continues for a little bit, that beam, the shawl, the fluttering of like that sort, like lightning quick,
Hmm.
the drip of holy water just like floating in it. A few times, like the shield comes up, but then I think eventually he will get you on your knees. I imagine it's like, like he dips under an attack, comes behind you. You feel like the guard like kind of hit you in like the back of your knees, so you
Hmm.
will fall. He like twirls like in like one twirling, like one round motion, ends up in front of you. And as you fall on your knees before you can like really dip, I get my sword's point high under your chin. Do you submit or flee? As he sort of tilts your chin, grinning at you. Do you yield?
After a little bit of a laugh, I think he does. I think he he will just you know bow his head as much as you'll allow, and then like look up at you with those white blue eyes, and say, I concede, I guess. That was a good fight. I mean, I did my best, but guess nightly training will always will out.
You fought valiantly, and Kirian will sheath compassion and reach out a hand to help you up.
And he'll reach out and, you know, grab it and accept gracefully, and will give you a deep bow, like from his waist, and, you know, look up at you. I thank you for reminding me that I'm more than my magic.
I have a feeling, Stormshawl, you are much more than that.
The smile wavers a little bit, as if you're the first person that's actually said that. And you probably are.
I think Kirian's expression again kind of softens in that compassionate way. And if we're still holding hands, you will feel like a reassuring little squeeze, as if to say, I see you and I've got you.
The smile solidifies, and then he'll give a squeeze back. And maybe he'll, like, kind of like, help you, like, face again, the nebulous beings, like, that are, like,
Mm-hmm.
up in the box. And then he'll, like, lead you in another bow to them
Mm-hmm.
as we close out of that
Absolutely.
particular box. Okay, so let's see. Well, maybe after the big fight, maybe this is where we do a big like feast. So let's see. Mm,
Uh, Slight heads up, the knight's dishes to me are very confusingly worded. So you're absolutely free to pick one of those, but I will ask you, like, so what does it mean? Like they're worded in a double negative, and that trips my brain up.
oh,
But
for
like for the knight's dishes specifically.
okay. I'm like, wait, what? Okay,
So if you pick one of those, I will basically just have you like recap for me.
okay.
So I have to raise my hand if this happened or if
Mhm.
this didn't happen.
Oh, gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Oh,
Yeah,
wow. Okay. So, all right. So, a feast. Everyone plays. What do you notice about each other during the feast? Anyone can ask anyone for details about the setting, occasion, and circumstances. Play to find out about each other's hearts and histories, to reveal your own, and perhaps to lay bare a secret or two. This is fun. Okay, great.
yeah, this is a great one for existing characters.
Ah, shit. Okay. All right. So let's see. Okay, so let's set the stage here. I'm gonna need your help in painting the scene for this feast. So again, this is like after the sword to sword. We've had a chance to clean up. Um, yeah, I would imagine that they, again, in this nebulous dream, it's like we just find ourselves at the feast,
Mhm.
but we're cleaned up. So
Yeah,
what do
like
you?
we took that bow, and I think, like sort of as we look up and the camera pans up, like suddenly,
Yeah,
we're
we're at
at the
the
feast.
entrance of the
There's,
feast.
yeah,
Maybe we're still holding hands even. It's like,
yeah.
but we're
Hmm.
wearing different stuff. I mean, like, so um do you think you're back in the tail weaver gear, or you think you're just in a more grander dinner version of Kirian's uh
Yeah, I think because like that crow's perch outfit was like very much like a mask, like a costume, like
mhm,
a thing that you want to be, but you know you are not, I guess is sort of the whereas this feels more like I think even in a dream, like these are somewhat familiar situations, like
mhm,
going to a feast, going to that kind of stuff is something that Kirian has probably done as a knight
mhm.
errant. So I think we just see, yeah, like almost like formal, like it's got that knightly look to it, but it's like a ceremonial knightly look. You know what I mean? Like it's got
Yes.
maybe like the shoulder, like the
Pauldrons.
pauldrons, that's the one. I wanted to use the French word. It's got like the pauldrons, it's got like arm braces, but they're
Mhm.
like very much like, beautifully engraved and they would serve like no actual protection, but they look absolutely gorgeous, right?
Yeah.
Like they have, I think, like the royal insignia like on it. Um, Same with like his outfit. I think there is like no actual mail, but it's sort of got that silhouette and that illusion of armor and like that kind of like silhouette, but it like no actual use in it. It looks all very, golden buttons, like that kind of like
It's
very,
decorative. Yeah.
yeah, it's like very ceremonial, very decorative.
Mhm.
Um And I think despite all that, he still does have like that hat that he got from Elston, like that cowboy hat. Like that is still on his head. Like I think it's been there the whole time, no matter what he has been wearing. And it hasn't changed in like any way, shape, or form. It doesn't change with outfits.
Yeah. And I think, like, Stormshawl kind of like looks up at it, and just kind of says, it's like, I had a hat like that. I don't know where it is now, but, and, he's wearing, I guess it would be like the mystical, like the very formal mystic version of like ceremonial garb.
Hmm.
Like they're
Like a
partial.
classic wizard's robe.
No, it's not a classic. I mean, it's kind of like, imagine the embroidered, I don't even know what the hell they're called. It's like the long, like it's kind of collared, but then like it's kind of like
Mm,
a long tailored jacket that goes
yeah.
down to the floor, but it's open in the front, like, and whatever. And then underneath it's like it's got the whole like, tailored tunic and pants to match and shit. And then like, there's again, the nice boots and stuff.
Hmm.
Just basically an embroidered suit with the jacket, like, floor length. Um,
Amazing.
and over it is a nicer version of his shawl capelet thing. So
Think as Stormshawl says, says that thing about his hat. I think Kirian looks at him like genuinely, um, when you said something very sad, and I think he looks at you and says, "Oh, what a shame. I don't think I could stand to be parted with this." And then he kind of has that look as if to like, that's true, but I don't know why it's true. And then shrugs it off in this dream logic way.
hmm for sure.
And I think he will lead Stormshawl to his place, very gallantly pull out a chair for Stormshawl so he can sit and then like slide it back in. Um,
Thank you. It's like, and just kind of looks at you like, wow, like somebody's polite to me. It's like, like my country bumpkin. Wow. Amazing, and just kind of like, just amazed somebody would be polite. So, and then I think like, the big, like, um, covered tables, like in the kind of like square slash T formation, whatever. Like there's a high table and all this kind of stuff, but then of course like there's like the lengthy tables all along, and we can barely see who's here, right? I mean, again, the
mhm.
nebulous beings at the high table, and then of course like, all the other knights and, nobles that are here. Maybe Levere's here, maybe like, all the other people are here. We have no fucking clue, but you know
Yurian sure hopes Levere's not here.
I know. I mean, like, we'd be
Then he
like,
has to run.
right, right, right. But I mean, like, no, but we don't sense them here. That's the thing.
Mhm.
We don't sense any of the usual panoply here, which is why it's so easy and why it's not, this doesn't feel the same, even though it may look similar to what
Mhm.
we're used to, or not used to, but what seems familiar, right? So, okay, so on your turn, the chef sends forth a dish for all to eat. You create the dish by choosing from the list either a knight's dish or a fairy dish, your choice. Knights, you need not choose knightly dishes. Fairies, you need not choose fairy dishes, but of course you may. Each dish ends with a question to the assembled feasters. Everyone answers every question by a show of hands or other acknowledgement. Make note of others' answers as you like. Once everyone's had a turn, end the feast. And ending the feast altogether, toast a chef. Okay. So, I mean, we can go beyond like just the two dishes if you want, so that's fine.
Yeah. I feel like because it's just the two of us, we get like double turns
Oh, yeah,
every
please.
game,
I
like
mean, I'm just gonna be like, having two things.
yeah.
Okay. So, go ahead and go first since I introduced the whole setting.
Oh, that's okay. You can go.
Okay. All right.
It's your game.
All right. So, let's see. I think the first thing that the chef sets out in front of all of us is Light motes from dancing water, iced with mint and mistletoe. It's supposed to be refreshing, kind of like a just kind of like an aperitif to just like, like soothe and refresh everyone to get ready for the meal ahead. So yeah, I mean that's the first dish that we are served. Oh man, these questions. Oh jeez.
I know.
Ah! If your heart is free, to be won by boldness, by tenderness, or by patience, then the spice of this dish overcomes you. Who's overcome? I mean, it shouldn't be, but I think the mistletoe, because, again, thinking about mistletoe
And mint, yeah.
and mint,
Mint can
yeah,
be.
yeah. I think the smell of it and the look of it is, again, a delight to Stormshawl. And he sits there and just admires it for a second before, delicately tasting it and such. But then I think when the mint and the mistletoe iced hits him, he's just. I think he's. The light motes remind him too much of moon water. And then he's kind of pained a little bit because he's remembering that encounter with Moonchild, and now he's just. Ugh. I think if you happen to look over at him, those white blue eyes look like they're kind of glassy, as if they're full of tears, but he's not letting them fall. And he looks like he's kind of massaging his throat a little bit.
So you are overcome.
Mm-hmm.
I think Kirian maybe like sees your discomfort and will like put like a gentle reassuring hand, between your shoulder blades for a second. Um, and then pull back, but like a little like, are you okay? Maybe like, if you have a glass of water, like nudge it a little closer to you as if to say, like, that's gonna help. Um, but I think you notice that Kirian is is eating the dish without problem because his heart cannot be won, for it's already given away. It already belongs to someone. So I think he is eating the dish without any problem. I like the fairy dishes more, so I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, sure.
I think the next dish is the sacred apples themselves, boiled in soft moonlight. If you long to grow old with one soul beloved by your side, this dish burns your lips and tongue. Whose mouth is burned?
Oh man.
Doesn't say that you already have to know who that beloved is. It's
That's
just
true.
one soul beloved at some point in your life.
But I mean, like, does this go on the idea that, like, prophecy will occur or not? That's the question. That's funny.
Well, I guess in that case, growing old would just be like the rest of your days, I assume.
Hmm. Oh, I mean, but it also says if you long to grow old.
Hmm.
So I mean, like, you
Yeah, it
can
doesn't
long
mean
to.
that it's gonna happen. It's just, yeah, is it a desire that you have?
Yeah, I think Stormshell looks and again admires the look of the thing. I mean, it's just very beautiful. And then when uh, when he starts to eat it, it's like it starts to feel as if fire is touching his mouth, like the dish is too hot, which is amazing because it's not like it's flambe or anything like that. It's he's looking at it and and he's like starting to touch lips, as if trying to figure out where the burn is coming from.
Poor Stormshawl. We're really having a bad time with this piece.
Love is not good for him. So yeah, I swear to God. I mean, like if he was a friend of mine, I'd be like, dude,
dude,
just
go
be.
to therapy.
Yeah,
I mean, but that's true for every TTRPG character.
seriously.
Um, I think for Kirian, oh man, I just realized something really toxic about Kirian. Oh boy. Um, I think he's fine because I think his romanticization of all these nightly stories that he has heard come with a side effect that nobody tells stories about a knight who grew old. Nobody tells stories about someone who lived and was peaceful in love and just lived a good life. We tell stories about young knights on tragically doomed quests that fought anyway. We tell stories about the knights that, knew they were going to die and stood bravely, about the knights that sacrificed themselves for a greater good. And I think Kirian wants that story. He wants he wants to die young and pretty and in his prime.
Yeah.
He fears, I think, more than anything, not necessarily to be irrelevant, but to, yeah, I think he would see it as a failure to grow old because then you didn't take the risks, you didn't stand up for what was right. How did you survive? And honestly, now I'm saying it is, I think that is part of the reason that he maybe is a little bit nasty to Levere because he's like, if you had been a great knight, you would have fucking died on the field, on the
Oh
violet
my
fields.
God!
You wouldn't be here. Like you straight up failed that day.
Oh my
Which is
God.
funny because I think that Levere thinks that too. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I think he wants to be with like he wants that courtly love. He's very much in love with someone right now, even though in a dream he doesn't remember. But to grow old in peace with someone by his side, that is the ultimate failure for a knight errant.
Amazing.
I think he eats the dish. Yeah.
Oh
I was
my
like,
God!
oh no.
He's just so. Oh my God.
Oh
That's the
boy,
thing.
Kirian.
He's so relishing this stuff, and like poor Stormshaw's like, what? Can I eat any of this? Okay.
And I think it's funny because Stormshawl having a bad time makes them honestly a more well-adjusted, and at least in this sense, like it's actually good and normal to want to just be in love and have like a long life. That's actually good. And Kirian being like, nah, I'm gonna die pretty.
Oh my
It's
God,
bad.
that's amazing! Holy shit, amazing. I mean, but also too long
Oh,
for going old. I mean, like he'd like to. He'd like Stormshaw would love to, but like
yeah.
if prophecy goes through, if like if the thing if the thing didn't happen, like if this does end up being just a dream, then it won't. But like by
Hmm.
the terms of this particular question, it's like he would love to, but
Yeah. And I genuinely think that Kirian would not want
what are you
to.
saying?
Like even in his dreams, I think he's like, no, 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 I'm gonna, even if there is no prophecy, then he still would want to die, gloriously. And I think that he's not consciously aware that he thinks that he should do that young, but I think that is
Yeah,
honestly a part of it.
yeah,
Like,
sure.
like you have to be a good knight, and that means, I guess, being stupid and dying young. That's part of it.
Yeah. Oh my God.
If you have another dish, please
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah. I'm gonna try like the nightly thing and see if I can understand what's going
Yes.
on. Give me a second. All right. So, because the warm oat cakes with honey sounds nice.
Ooh, that
So,
does sound really nice.
and at this point, like Stormshaw's looking at it with suspicion. Even though it looks so good, it's like so
So
toasted,
valid.
so toasted, smells wonderful, like because you can smell the grains and just like just like the toasted cake, and it's like it's sweet, and the honey's actually warmed too. So it looks great, but it's like,
Looks great,
oh
but
my god, can you eat it? Okay, all right, let's see which one of these challenging things can we look at. All right, I'm gonna take pity on him. I think this will serve. If you've never sat by a friend's hearth in winter, this dish brings delicious unknown. Hold on, let me see. Hold on. If you've never sat by a friend's hearth in winter, this dish brings delicious unknown warmth to your belly and blood. Okay, maybe not. I don't know. So hold on. Figuring out these double
right?
negative crap. Okay, hold on.
Right?
Oh my
Right?
god.
It's worded so confusingly. I think that means that if you have sat by a friend's hearth, then the dish doesn't give you that warmth.
Okay. But I mean,
I
it's
think
still
that's what
said
it means,
right.
but
But I think it's still like edible.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, it would just, I think, be like
okay.
oatcakes with honey, which
Okay.
would still be like, okay,
Yeah,
right?
right,
But
right, right.
yeah.
Okay, so if you've never sat by a friend's hearth in winter, this dish brings delicious unknown warmth to your belly and blood. Who hasn't? Okay. So has he? Yes. I mean, because he's been near a village, and
Hmm.
presumably he's had at least one friend. God help us. So yes, he has spent time by a friend's hearth in winter at least, and so it doesn't give him unknown warmth. But I mean, like he does taste it. He nibbles on it suspiciously at first, but then he's like, "Oh, okay, it didn't harm me in any way. It didn't taste weird. It didn't harm me. This is good." And then he finishes off the oat cakes and enjoys it, but doesn't receive any kind of unknown warmth. So he just enjoys it
The
as food.
the gremlin in me is like, do people in the Baron have hurts? They're living in a freaking desert. Also, is there winter? Again, freaking desert. And third of all, I, hmm,
Because he's been in a cave too. I mean, it's kind of
yeah.
like, it's like
Yeah, I'm thinking of Kirian with that. Like, he has friends, but like, I feel like in the spirit of the question, it wouldn't like, but in like the technicality of the question, I feel like it would. Know what I
I
mean? Like,
yeah, no, go for it. I mean, like whatever you think, it's fine.
God, I think this is a difficult question to answer because Kirian's friendships are so like wrapped up in being knightly and all of that stuff that I feel like gets confusing if they are like true friendships or if they're like, you know, um but let's say that, yeah, let's say that he too is just like, oh, these oatcakes are fine.
Yeah,
They're just fine. I feel like Kirian just this whole time has been like, all of these dishes are fine. They're just
yeah,
okay, actually.
yeah. They're just fine. It's all good.
They're
It's all
just
fine.
fine. They're just good, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, do we
What do
have
you
another
think?
spicy question we can ask? I will do another nightly dish.
Okay.
Um,
What do you think?
I will river fish toasted on a plank.
Ooh.
If you have never prepared breakfast for a lover on a cold spring morning, this dish dazzles you with its freshness and brightness. Who hasn't? Uh, Sadly for Kirian, it's another one of those dishes that's just fine, but no magical effects because he is a good and loyal knight and he's never had a lover, so he definitely never prepared breakfast for them, even though he'd love to.
Yeah, but I mean, if you've never prepared breakfast for a lover on a cold spring morning,
Mm-hmm. Oh,
then
then the
it,
dish
it does
does. Right,
does
right, right,
dazzle
right.
you.
See, every freaking time.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. That's why we clarify. That's why we clarify. So yes, we
Yeah,
both
so he is dazzled. Finally, a magical effect.
yes. So we both get like I, I,
Ooh.
I think, for this river fish, yeah, I mean, it's like it comes out and it's, I think like we each get like an individual one or what have you, and it's looking like, quite golden, and it's like, maybe we can even see it being toasted, like, like we can sort of see like into the side room, like down the hallway or whatever, where like the planks are coming out as they're finished and stuff, and then like they kind of bring them out ceremoniously to each of us. And like the smell is just incredible because like the crisp skin and like, just the rich smell. And yeah, I mean, I think, as Stormshawl, like, takes a bite of it, it's like his eyes go purple with this. And I think it's just like he kind of like leaves it in his mouth for a little bit, as it just is just an incredible taste. Like something that he has not experienced with the other dishes so far, where it's like, this is a good thing.
Finally!
Yes, this is a good thing. Yay.
I
It's
love
like,
how the dish tasting good is like actually a sad thing. Because like this is like such a sweet thing, and none of them have experienced that. But hey, at least the dish doesn't taste like crap.
or bite him or burn him or anything like.
But the biting and the burning means that like something has happened, and Kira's just like, no, 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 no.
It's just great. It's just great. I love this. So yeah, I mean, like, and he's just like, and then he just starts to eat very heartily and just enjoy the dish because it's just every
Mhm.
bite is just a a bright piece of sunshine in his mouth. Which, yeah, for a guy whose shtick is storms and rain, it's like that's unique that he's actually enjoying it. So,
Okay. Do you have a dish, or do we go to a next game?
um, do you think that we're do you think that we're full?
It's a dream. We can do whatever we want.
Right. Let's do one more. Let's do
Okay.
one more round of this. I want to go back to the fairies. Let's see. Let's see. Let's do Midsummer's ripe berries, simmered in nectar and dew.
That sounds like a good ending dessert.
Yeah, I think so. I'm gonna do this to you just because it's like I think it would be funny. So just before I ask you the question, I think that,
Hmm.
maybe you start to look around as they start to, place these dishes in front of us. And as you're looking around, you see somebody maybe further along, like, 2 or 3 tables away, that look like maybe Elston. You're not sure if it's him,
Hmm.
but he looks really familiar.
Hmm.
Maybe you're like kind of catching the name in your brain, but it's like it's not quite
Hmm.
there, but very familiar. And you're like, I don't know, however you respond, like whatever visceral, physical reaction you have.
Hmm.
So the question is, if you are in love with one here present, you both hiccup at once. Who hiccups?
Yeah, then I think seeing that vision, uh, I think yeah, I think maybe I imagine it's sort of like this dream sequence in the movie where, maybe like he was talking to Stormshawl and like the ditches are set out and like his eyes kind of wander. He does like this little double take,
Mm-hmm.
where he catches that person's eyes and then looks again, yeah, as you described, like almost grabbing something like sand through your fingers, like trying to hold on to water. It slips out. And I think catching that person's eyes, he will hiccup um, and be very embarrassed about it because that's not very courtly. Um,
And Stormshaw will look at you and say, "Are you all right? What?
yes, apologies.
What? here, have some water, and it kind of
Thank
pushes
you.
your water to you.
Very embarrassed, will take a sip. And I think when he looks back, that person, I imagine, is like lost in the crowd, right? Like they're
Yeah,
not there.
yeah. And actually, like the serving people are like busy, like making sure that everybody has, however, like has their helping of the ripe berries, and
Mhm.
are like and if they want extra helpings, then they have extra helpings. We do hear some hiccups, like around the
Yeah.
around the room.
I think that makes Kieran, I think you can sort of visibly see him relax where he like starts to realize like, oh, it's just a fairy thing, like where before he was like, oh no, that was rude. It's like, okay, it was magic.
Yeah, yeah. And Stormshawl doesn't experience any of that. He just enjoys the berries
Oh.
as berries. I mean, well, there's so
Mm-hmm. Poor Stormshaw.
yeah,
Um,
my boy. Yeah,
I want to play another game that I haven't played
go
yet.
ahead.
So I would love to do some mischief.
Oh boy, what's this?
Choose a partner. You are the querent, they are the dreamer. Everyone else may eavesdrop if they choose and learn what they can. In Dreaming Avalon, even knights can practice enchantment. You are alone. No one notices anything about you, nor you about them. Other than you, the querent, no one should ask any questions. Play to find out how your chosen partner might feel about you, and probably to mess up your chances with them by being weird and awkward. But maybe it'll work out. Querent, you conduct the mischief. Start with part one, reading the script aloud, allowing the dreamer to interrupt if they choose. Continue to two, and then conclude with part three. However, dreamer, you may break off freely at any time, in which case the mischief ends at once. When you finish part three, or if the dreamer breaks off sooner, the mischief ends. Mischief Part 1. You are peacefully asleep in Dreaming Avalon. I'm somewhere else entirely, minding my own business, just burning some incense and letting my mind wander, perhaps reciting strange rhymes to myself. You are dreaming that you are dreaming. You won't remember this when you wake up. Or maybe you will remember it, but you'll think it was a dream. I don't actually know. You'll probably remember it clearly. Anyway, in your dream of a dream, I can ask you a few questions, and you should answer them. I hope you answer them honestly, but you should answer them however you want. Unless you don't want to answer them at all, then you can refuse. You can also dream of waking up whenever you choose. Just say something like, enough, I dream of waking up. Then the spell ends. May I continue, or do you dream of waking up now?
Continue.
The fact is, I'm curious about you, but I'm not sure how I feel about you, and I haven't decided how I'm going to approach you. That's what I'm trying to figure out. If I do something stereotypically knightly, like devoting myself to you forever, but without ever saying anything to you or approaching you openly, will you find it endearing or annoying?
Oh, probably find it annoying. I mean, just and poor Kenley couldn't be with Angver, and it caused all that bullshit back at. Oh gods. Yeah. I mean, if they just spit it out, it would just save people a lot of trouble. But he had his vows to remember and all that bullshit. No, I would definitely find it annoying if you never said anything or you didn't want to do it openly. Yeah.
Well, what if I show my feelings for you in a knightly fashion by performing chivalrous acts in your honor? What sort of acts might impress you truly? And what sort of acts would you find dismissible?
That's a very good question. I mean, I can appreciate the knights being polite and, well, standing up for me because Sir Balfour sure did me a solid and took up for me in front of Moonchild and actually said he wanted me in his cadre, which, I mean, damn, I didn't expect that at all. I mean, somebody wanted me. That's 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 amazing. But I don't know. I mean, like holding at arm's length and just parts of that code. I I find that dismissible, I guess. But yeah, just knowing there's somebody in my corner and can see me and wants me, I suppose. I guess you can only show it so much with the nightly code in your way. But yeah, some of it's nice.
Next time we meet, I fear I might be so awkward that I'll accidentally slight you. Or on purpose, it's hard to know. Anyway, what's a slight that you might be able to forgive? And what is a slight that you probably won't?
I guess reminding us about our duty to the kingdom, I suppose. Like when we get back to myth and such, just reminding us this is what we have to do to protect myth. But that's what I've always been trying to do. I mean, you wouldn't have asked me. I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have kept the rings if I didn't know that Balfour didn't want me to keep them secure. But I don't think I could forgive being treated like I was less than. That I was less than an equal cadre member. That I was just somebody, there to sling magic when it's convenient. Like I wasn't valuable. That I was, like, only good enough to do what I do and didn't have an ounce of sense. Which, yeah, maybe I don't sometimes. Maybe I'm too fucking stubborn to realize when I'm reacting or I'm just, you know, getting my way through a situation instead of like thinking it through. But no reason to think that I'm stupid and I'm bad at what I do just because of some decisions. I think I think that would be the most unforgivable thing, is to dismiss me as I'm just somebody to boss around.
Well, I do not think you are less than, and I would never boss you around. So, in this dream of a dream, where I have been asking questions of you to treat you equal to me, do you have a question for me?
I guess it's a big one that I don't even understand why I want to know, but why are you here? Why are you here in this dream? If this is a dream. I know I'm stuck here, at least for now. But why did you come here? Especially if you have, well, somebody, I guess, waiting for you back where you are.
Oh, he isn't waiting. Not for me, at least. I think I dream of him, but I don't know if he dreams of me. I hope he doesn't. Yeah, yeah, I hope he doesn't. I hope he has already forgotten me.
Why?
I am a knight of a dying kingdom. My story. Well, everyone keeps telling me it's a tragedy. Everyone keeps telling me that it ends in death or corruption. I don't want someone like him to be a part of that story. It would just be sad.
Yeah, but
Maybe that's why I'm here. Because I've always been a dreamer, even when I'm wide awake.
maybe that's what they should have called me before. Because I don't feel like I belong necessarily. I'm not. I'm not what they expect me to be. Or at least I'm not living up to potential. But what should I care about what others think?
But I think you do care. Isn't that isn't that normal? You don't live in the world alone. So of course you want people to love you. And you want people to think that you're worthy and you want people to see you. I don't think that's anything to be ashamed of. I definitely don't think it's something to project.
I guess I've had a history of wanting the wrong people to notice.
I'm sorry, that can be really hard. That doesn't mean that the people who will notice aren't out there.
Like you, my end will be tragic. My end will be, well, by sacrifice. I don't think it'll be for one. I think it'll be for many.
If you ask me, I don't think that's tragic. I think that's the most beautiful thing you can do for someone.
I hope so. I don't care about power. I don't care about being great. I just want to help people. The best way that I know how.
What way is that?
To protect them. To try and get them to where they're going. I don't know. Maybe I haven't known for some time because I've been following my own desire. Desire. Fuck. I've been following my own desire for a bit now, which is how I ended up here, I think. Yeah.
I think that's why knights are not supposed to have any of those.
Yeah, that kind of leads back to the loop of why I guess I'm wrong about that one night, Sir Kenley. But I don't think I am, though. I think if they had been free, if they had been free to be together, Sir Kenley and that road mage, Angver, I don't think Angver would have tried to impress him, tried to wear that ring, tried to make some Cinder dead, and caused a whole
Maybe.
bunch of trouble. But just a guess on my part, I guess.
Maybe, but I will say this. If anyone ever thinks they might impress me by doing such a terrible thing, then they were never someone that I could have loved in the first place. Now, I can't speak for Sir Kenley, but I don't think that is a fair reaction to not being with someone, free or not. I think that was a mistake that cannot be chalked up to rules or even a broken heart. Hearts break all the time. That doesn't give you an excuse for cruelty. It doesn't justify doing such a terrible thing. It might explain it, but it doesn't justify it.
Oh, gods. Oh, gods, Kirian. Oh, God. I did the same exact thing. Oh, gods. I did the same exact thing. But I didn't do it to impress him. I did it. I don't know why I did it. The person that I was. The person that I wanted to be with called me a bad wizard and a poor mystic and said that I could be great, but was wasting my time. Just making clouds and rain, and my reaction was to put on a ring, doing what Angver did. But I didn't do it to impress him. I don't know why I did it.
Well, seems to me you did it because you were hurt. And maybe that was the only way you thought you could show that hurt. Make yourself understood.
He wanted to wear the ring.
Hmm.
He tried to get me to give him the ring, and I wore it instead.
Very sorry, Stormshawl, that he broke your heart like that. You didn't deserve that.
Thank you. I don't know how I'm going to deal with it when I get back. If I get back.
Well, I can't speak for you, but I think if you let this hurt and this anger do the talking for you, I think you'll regret that. And I think you'll just create more of it. I know it might be hard to find, but I think there's a lot of love in you, a lot of goodness and a lot of kindness. And I think if you can find, however deeply it's buried, if you can let that speak, I think you're going to be the happier for it.
Maybe that's why you were sent here.
Maybe that's why it's a dream, because somebody's actually listening. Usually by now, they have told me something to the effect of, well, that's not the real world, Kirian. But it isn't the real world. So maybe that's why it's working.
Yeah. We're outside of that right now. It's probably a good thing. We'd both be probably told off for various reasons.
It does tend to be like that, yes. But it does seem like the both of us haven't given up despite of that. So why start now?
No. I'm not giving up. Well, I'm not giving up completely, although I don't know what it means for myth if what I did truly affects them when I get back. If I get back. I know certainty here. Or I knew the name of certainty. And I said, certainty could go away for a while. Do you know what that means?
No, I don't think I understand.
It means prophecy is broken. The violet moon, the third moon, comes back. So if I did what I did with the ring, that means that if I get back, and it worked, the third moon, the violet moon, is up in the sky, and prophecy is broken.
And I think the dream connection for this game will break there before Kieran can respond. The next day, you find that I'm sorry, the last one is kind of funny. Sure. I think that's really like dream logic, like after such an emotional moment. I think the next day you find that, I'm sorry, the person you were in love with, I'm sorry, but they're kind of an ass. You just realize it in your heart.
Yep.
I'm sorry, but they kind of suck.
Yeah. No, I mean that's actually spot on.
It's actually kind of fair. It's the truth of it.
It's really the truth. I mean, I think, yeah, I mean, like, just
Kind of an ass. Real sorry. See, Kirian would never say it, but I feel with the mischief and the dream, you feel like you just know this is Kirian's opinion.
yeah. No, and it's fine. It's just like, kind of, yeah.
So funny that Kirian still doesn't know who this guy is. Because if he know, he'd be like, hold up, hold up. That might be the brother of my boyfriend. I might have to do some stuff.
makes me laugh even harder.
Kirian meeting Moonshot like, wait a minute. You suck. But also go meet Elson, I guess.
Well, I mean, like,
Okay.
you're also talking about, like, 30 some odd years of being by yourself and experimenting on people and being, like,
Hey,
under a
sometimes
curse.
that makes you a little bit of an ass.
A little bit of an ass.
A little bit.
Oh my god, amazing. Oh, that's big. That's like so cathartic.
So funny. Absolute mental breakdown. I'm sorry, your boyfriend sucks.
It's a sucky. But what a great way to find out, though. What a great way to just
Listen,
come round.
just come. We have to come to that conclusion.
Yeah. But at least you had somebody to talk to.
Exactly. Look at that.
Yeah. Because the only other person in this place like doesn't speak.
Nobody else in this place speaks. It's so weird.
That's exactly it. So I mean, it's like okay, like now he's got somebody to talk to and like bounce off of. It's like it's great. And it's like okay, cool. Okay, what do we want to play next? I have no freaking clue.
I think it's your time, your choice, because I played Mischief.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Hmm. Mischief. um. Oof. I don't know. Ogre, Perilous Quest. I don't know what is that. Or just do like the funny stuff, but like not with each other necessarily. Like make up like NPCs to play them with the the characters. Like in other words, it's like if I pick Kissing Game or Stealing Time Together, it wouldn't be with each other. It would be with
Um, I
whatever.
mean, that's fine. I think there are also options where you can like get like, semi-romantic if we want to sort of keep with we know that there's someone in the waking that we care for, but we're also like in this weird dream where we're sort of maybe a little,
Okay.
um, I'm fine either way.
Okay. Well, then let's
Because I feel like I don't know the NPCs well enough to like accurately portray them.
Oh, I'm not even saying like known NPCs. I'm just saying like some
Mm,
some rando, some dream
right.
rando.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, just for funsies, let's go to Stealing Time Together.
Ooh, okay.
What that does, I have no idea. So, we're going to find out. Did you ever play that one?
I think it's the smoochy one.
Not the kissing one?
No, kissing one also, but that's more like a spin the bottle game
Oh, okay.
where it's like a little bit more like I want to say like frivolous, and I think the implication is also that you're not alone, so it doesn't get like too
Oh, okay.
um
Oh,
there's kind
okay.
of like two smoochy ones. This is like the classic, I touch X, may I, you may, but like
Oh,
that.
got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty. So, stealing time together. Choose a partner to play with. Decide how you two came to be stealing time together and where. If you and your partner agree, you may choose to invite other players to join. No one may join uninvited, and all invitations must be unanimous. Okay, that's not under thing. What do you notice about each other? During the liaison, anyone can ask anyone for details about their location and circumstances. Play to find out what intimacies you will allow one another. Converse as you like. During the conversation, you may, whenever you like, begin an exchange by making an advance. Your counterpart then makes an answer to conclude the exchange. Return to conversation or advance into the next exchange as you like. Anytime after the third exchange, any player may interrupt you by having someone else enter the scene, quite unaware that what they're interrupting. Otherwise, continue your conversation and exchanges until you part, or draw a curtain upon what follows. Since it's just the two of us. So, let's see. Okay, so where is this happening and what do we notice about each other? Let's see. So we just came from Mischief.
Hmm.
Stormshawl woke up from his weird ass dream from a dream. That's fun. And realized it's like, yeah, Moonchild's a bit of an ass. Yeah, yeah. He was starting to figure that out, but I mean, it really got honed in after having that weird discussion with Sir Kirian. And I feel like that dream within a dream is even more honed in because then when he wakes, it's almost like he sees like you are like doing something completely innocuous like further away. So
Hmm.
that didn't really happen, right? It was just something in his head or something like, like he took a waking nap or something weird like that.
Hmm.
Um, and oh, he just imagined it or something. But he feels better. He feels better after it. So, um, and I think maybe we flash into yet another scene where I think, yeah, I think this time we're where the two moons are high in the sky. So, I mean, like that weird combination of like the pale green and the pale orange light are playing upon the landscape here. And then around them are all the stars that we see in the sky. So it creates this really strange but wonderful like backdrop. And I think maybe we're alone. Like we're really alone. There's
Hmm.
nobody else around, and this is all we see. It's almost like if we can imagine ourselves in a planetarium of sorts. This is
Yeah.
what we see, but I mean, it's a stillness that's not disturbing. It's a quiet that's not too that's not sinister. It's just
Hmm.
like the universe has left us alone for a little bit to be at peace and just appreciate the wonder that's in front of us. This is the universe's art,
Hmm.
basically. Universe's art and beauty. And I think after looking around at the thing and just kind of like wonderingly looking up and around, I think this is where Stormshawl's eyes will settle upon you. And I think for the first time, his eyes aren't flashing white, blue, or purple. I think they're actually down to their dark brown.
Yeah. And I think Kirian is, I think there's sort of this like a little like how do you say it? Like a little slope in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's got like all this soft moss, I think like flowers around the edges. Like it's kind of like a half of like a bed or like one of those lounge chairs thing, but like very fey, very natural. And I think he's like sort of laying there, the hat's still on, but like tipped up a little so he can look up at the sky, in that like half lying, half sitting position. And he will look up at you. And I think he has sort of this weird moment where he remembers the mischief, right? Because it was his spell. And I think he feels a little like this is not something Kirian would do in the dream, in like the waking world, like this kind of like cunning subterfuge of like asking questions in that way. So I think he feels a little weird about it, like a little self-conscious, but he gives you an inviting smile. And I think maybe there's like a place to sit or another one of those slopes like next to him, and he
Yes,
will invite you.
yeah. Stormshaw will sit next to you comfortably and say, "It's so beautiful, so beautiful out here, isn't it?"
It is. I've never seen a sky like this before.
I have, and it actually doesn't bother me anymore. And funnily enough, I think, as weird as this sounds, I think I have you to thank for it.
I'm, I'm sure that isn't true,
Well,
but thank you. And you're welcome.
true or not, just I'm glad you're here.
Glad you're here too.
And you see a genuine smile from Stormshaw to you. And he's looking at you with those dark brown eyes.
Big Kirian smiles back. I think you get to choose first if you want to.
I touch your hand? May I? This is the hand, obviously, that isn't
Mm-hmm.
underneath your head.
Yeah. Yeah. I think if you touch it, he will sort of like, open his palm for you, open his hand. If you want to take his hand, he will let you. Um, and I think he looks back up at the sky and says, a friend of mine knows the name of Dream. They're very, they didn't want me to know. They kept it like a secret, like something to be ashamed of or defensive of, but I find it quite nice to be able to share a dream like this.
I'm glad you did. And he gives your hand a squeeze.
Who do you think chose this? Whose dream is this, I mean? Is it mine and are you in it? Or is it yours and did I find you?
I think. I think it's a possibility of pathways and byways. I know I was already stuck in some kind of alternate place. So maybe your dream just managed to find me here. And I'm glad it did.
Hmm. I think that would make sense if it's my dream. I mean, we did have a duel for absolutely no reason.
You
That
wanted to
sounds
stay
like some.
practice.
Yes, I think that sounds like something a knight would dream of, doesn't it?
Yeah. Especially with a mystic. You should have dreamed practicing with yet another knight.
Hmm. But I can practice with knights in the waking world. I only get to practice with you in the dreaming world.
Well, maybe you'll take this kind of thing back to the mystics, although some of them may be a little bit more stuffy about it. maybe, maybe, maybe if there's a possibility of meeting in the waking world, look me up. Maybe I'll maybe I'll tilt with you again.
Well, if you can stand losing again.
This was the dream.
Ah, of course, of course.
You don't know how I actually play in the waking world.
You wouldn't play us nice.
I may not.
Well, I think I could probably stand to lose a duel or two. I'm getting cocky. I can feel it.
Some would say the same about me. So,
Well, if you can prove that you're right, are you really cocky or are you just truthful?
could be fun to find out, wouldn't it?
It would be. And and I do hope I get to meet you in the waking world.
I hope so too. As far as I know, I'm still trapped in hubris. All fucking places.
Well, then I might actually meet you.
Wow.
I plan to go there
What? Why?
once I find the chalice of bounty to heal the land and soothe the dragon.
You wait. The the Great Drake. You
Yes.
does the Great Drake have the chalice?
No, no, the chalice was last seen with the silver scales up in the Grey River. But the chalice is said to be able to heal the land, to turn even the barren deserts into the greenery. So if there's anything in the world that might undo the reddening poisoning, then it is a chalice.
True. But where they think. Who knows? If you think you can find it, then
Well, I have to find it.
you don't have to do anything. You know that, right? There's so many things you can do.
I am a
There's,
knight errant. There's a lot of things I must do.
but not
And
all
I
at
have,
once. Not all at once.
maybe not, but there's no time to do them any other way. And I was given an order by the Lord Errant, so apparently I am supposed to follow those.
Yeah, so were we, but they he specifically said find this chalice?
Yes. Well, he he doesn't really care. He thinks I can't do it. And maybe he's right. He mostly just wants me out of Knight's Home.
He wants a
But
lot of
that
people out of
is,
Knight's Home.
yeah, of course he does. It's easier to take an empty castle.
Wait, what do you mean?
I meant what I said. It is easier to take an empty castle.
You mean he means to move against the king?
Yes, he thinks himself a better protector of myth.
Well, shit.
Yeah,
Why am I not surprised? Fuck. And here we all are. Out. Stranded. No wonder he sent so many cadres out.
I don't know. I think I think he does mean it, that he wants to protect myth, that he thinks these quests are necessary to do it. I think it's what I hate most about this prophecy. The way it's been twisting everybody's love into despair, everybody wanting to save it, and in doing so, killing it till there's nothing left to save.
But what if? What if prophecy doesn't work anymore? And then it can be anything. It can be anything that saves or harms. People actually have the will to decide for themselves. What then?
But
What then?
I I don't know.
He's still holding on to your hand.
Yeah, and I think actually sort of for the second time mentioning like what if there's no more prophecy? I think Kirian wants to be comforted by that fact, and I think he feels like he has to be because obviously that means that myth won't necessarily fall, which is good and great, and he should be really happy about that. But I think it is sort of feeling like you have lived under one sky all of your life, and now it's a different sky. And I think maybe like literally above us, we do now see that purple moon like shining much brighter than before. And I think in the face of that, I think he's just terrified because he doesn't know what that white might mean. And it's one thing for Myth to fall and for all of these people to do what they're doing if there's like prophecy that guides them. Because that even Levere gives him sort of, a way out, doesn't it? Like it allows Kirian to say that what he's doing is because of this external destiny, prophecy. But what if he does it anyway and that force goes away? And we have to contend with the fact that our heroes might have genuinely become people that would do all this to other people. And I think in that moment, he's just terrified and he will, I think, holding on to your hand, I think he will, I think he will move a little closer to sort of like still kind of looking up at that sky now. And I think he's like not wanting to look at you because he doesn't want you to see that he's afraid
But
because
I
he's a knight and he shouldn't be afraid. But
but I think he starts seeing like something in your eyes. Like your eyes
mhm.
start getting wider and like maybe he
Yeah,
starts seeing a little bit of terror in your eyes. It's like
absolutely.
what's I'm sorry. I'm s- I- I'm sorry if it scares you. It scares me too. If I go back and prophecy's broken, but then nothing, it just gets worse. I don't know if I could face that prospect either.
I don't think that Kirian says anything, but if you allow him, he will pull you a little closer and lean in a little closer so that, like this, his hand, your hand that he was holding,
Hmm.
your shoulders and your arm kind of like touch each other and like align in like the like a almost like a half hug kind of
Hmm.
situation.
Yeah.
Um, but his eyes are still like firmly fixed on that third moon, the purple moon.
Yep. You may, but first I want to also throw my other arm around you. May I? Or do you mind?
I think when you do it, at first there is like again that stillness that isn't like necessarily rejection, but that is like that processing, that like deer in the moon stag in the headlights in the
Yes.
in the
Yes.
in the like sort of that freeze reaction. But I think after a moment, he will kind of relax in your touch and move a little closer in it, finding some comfort as a little bit of that terror is not going away, I think, but quieting down.
To do this, his head is a little bit um, above yours,
Mhm.
and I think he's going to. You're going to feel like a what's the word? A vibration coming from him, and you realize it's him starting to hum this lullaby that maybe you know from your childhood. It's very resonant, um, and he's humming it against your hair. So basically, it's like, I touch your hair, may I?
Mhm. Yeah, you may think he's okay with that.
I mean, he's keeping his he's keeping his one hand in yours, and he has the other arm thrown around you, and he's humming this lullaby against your hair. It's a lullaby about, you know, staring up at the night sky and seeing all the stars in the sky, and how the moons dance, night passes, day passes and life goes on, as you know the words to it. But he doesn't say them, he just hums that lullaby that you know so well. Somehow he knows that you know it.
Yeah. Um, I don't have anything else to add to the scene. I don't know if you do.
Um, no, I mean, if you want to, pardon, if you want to fade in on that, that's fine. Just to kind of like, be like, this is how they kind of like lay in rest, draw,
Hmm.
draw a
Yeah,
curtain
I
on
think
it.
it's sort of like that quiet comfort
Mm-hmm.
of Kirian staring at that third moon.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think asking himself quietly that question, right? What if myth falls anyway?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not because of prophecy, it's because we
People.
just simply weren't good enough. He wasn't good enough. Because I think there is one, if he couldn't save it because of prophecy, then that's not his fault. That's prophecy. You cannot be stronger than prophecy. But if there is no prophecy and he still can't save her, then he just wasn't worthy. He just wasn't good enough.
But I think as a parting words, as we draw the curtain on it, I think after the lullaby, I think Stormshawl will whisper against your hair. He will say, "We will do what we can, regardless of broken prophecy or not. We will do what is possible. You can't do anything more than that."
Yeah. I think Kirian hears it, but I think at least in this moment that's not something he can
Process.
accept.
Sure.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think it's too like I think he believed those words when there was a prophecy because then indeed that is the only thing you can do. But if you can overcome it and you don't, then I think he believes like then your best wasn't good enough. Like then there is that edge of failure to it that is so new and raw to him because he hasn't ever had to process that with prophecy that like he hears you, he keeps it, but in this moment it's like it's all too new and raw. I think he can't really
Sure.
process it just yet.
Sure. No problem. And that's where we are, as all of the light of the moons shine down on us. So, um, if you think we have enough time to play another game, we totally can, and then we can end, or we can end and then do stars and wishes.
Um, I don't think that any of the other games like would make sense after this. So I'll choose Waking the End Game.
Sure. Okay.
Because I think that's like I feel like that's a very good like haunting scene to end on where it's like, oh shit, it kind of became real now.
Okay.
Um, 50.
Okay.
Waking the End Game. Everyone plays, take turns in volunteer order. To take your turn, choose one of the options for waking up and read it out. Once everyone's had their turn, continue on to Buck's Farewell and end the game.
Oh gosh. Oh man.
I think Kirian looking up at the sky, I think the sky like starts to change again and becomes like much more like the actual sky of Inevitable. It starts to become very familiar. The sight of stars, um, you know, like that last moment of night before the dawn breaks, the stars like that. No third moon, just the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he starts to realize, like, I'm waking up, the dawn is breaking. I'm gonna wake up. And I think he will turn to Stormshawl, grab your hand like tightly. There's like an urgency to it, but not a desperation. And he said he will just swear to you, I won't forget you. Let's meet in the waking world.
Oh,
And I realize I'm about to wake up and concentrate to fix in mind all that has happened here, so I remember it all as I return to the waking life.
and yeah, Stormshawl will you'll feel like Stormshawl grip your hand tightly and speak your name. Go well, Sir Kirian. So this is weird, right? Because it's like, do I say that he's woken up and then wakes up there, or wakes up still like in this particular dimension? That's the interesting part. That's the funny
I mean,
part.
you can also do the end one.
Yeah, still here. Yeah.
Or yeah, you can wake up in the weird dimension.
Yeah, I think he's gonna wake up into the weird dimension just because, yeah, he's not completely out of it. I mean, he realizes that what he experienced with Kieran was in some kind of crossover into whatever your dream was, the pathways and byways that he spoke of. It just managed to cross into the purple moon dimension, because then he realizes that, yeah, the purple moon like has faded um, a bit since you left, and he no longer sees that orchard or the night bloom garden or anything, and he finds himself back where it's like a pale imitation of, I guess, hubris or what have you, and yeah, he finds himself somewhat alone again. Um,
Then we go. Right.
yeah, I mean, like, and he just says that to himself as he kind of like wanders back to the place where he was and where he saw the Norn Queen. So
Mhm. Then we go to Puck's farewell. If we shadows have offended, think but this, and all is mended. That you have but slumbered here, with all these visions did appear, and this weak and idle theme no more yielden, but a dream. Gentles do not reprehend, if you pardon, we will mend. And as I am an honest Puck, if we have honored luck, now go to scape the serpent's stung, we will make amends ere long. Else the Puck a liar call. So good night unto you all. Give me your hands if we be friends, and Robin shall restore amends. The end. And we go to Stars and Wishes.
stars and wishes. Holy crap, a doodle do. Wow, this is great. So glad we got the chance to do this.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was great. Yeah. So stars to you for suggesting this. That was excellent. So yeah.
I am now on a quest to play this with everyone.
Yes, Sir Kirian. Sir Kirian is so cute.
Sir Kirian flirting with everyone.
Yeah, there we go. No, that was adorable. That was really cool. And again, like, got to meet another character that like kind of has similar problems in myth. And here's Stormshawl thinking that like he was the only weirdo with it, like in the myth uh kind of world of like kind of feeling like a misfit and stuff like that. But I mean, Kirian for different reasons though. So like I guess star for that because it's like, you make it feel very relatable for your character. And it was nice to meet him in this dream space. It was so much fun. And then kudos to this game. I love Firebrands, and this just gives me yet another reason why I love Firebrands so much, because it just brings out like such great intimate moments as well as like some emotional moments that, just asking like some really awesome questions. So yeah, kudos. And wishes, yeah, would love to play this with different characters that from other games or what have you. I mean, I was thinking about our Bump in the Dark game like, the other day because I was like also thinking about like
Sion and Dreaming Avalon would be fucking hilarious.
right, or with
Like,
Casey.
would not match the tone at all.
No, but then also like thinking on Casey and was like thinking like and maybe he would meet somebody else like in like he'd be
Hopefully, he meets someone better.
oh well yeah I mean obviously because I mean like like Keen being on the side of the opposition for sure I mean like yeah he would definitely meet somebody better and different probably from another faction because God knows there's
Mhm.
like so many factions now in Bump in the Dark but yeah. Yeah, just thinking of all the different characters that you could just like plug in here. We're all dreaming. We're all like meeting together and just like, yeah, just I mean, yeah, so much fun. And I would totally play this again, just with any other character as well, just to see like how we fare. And but it just works, right? It just really works
Mhm.
with the Arthurian type of vibe, and then also being plunked into this in Dreaming Avalon, so obviously it fits. So definitely appreciated the opportunity to play this for sure. So thank
Yeah,
you.
I've lately like been into like these kind of games where like I at least feel like it elevates the game to a next level if you put in characters that you know, because
Yes.
then they become like a really interesting like character study slash
Yes.
like AU approach. But this one definitely felt more like a character study than
Hmm.
a straight up approach.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, that's the start. Like, I think that's really fun and really interesting because the vibe like fits enough, but is still so different
Hmm.
that like I feel like these moments you might have not gotten in Inevitable,
Oh no.
but like you get them here, right? Like, also I just happen to play a lot of knight characters, so there's like so many characters I could plonk in here
Oh
that I'm really
sure.
excited to do. But yeah, it was super fun, like meeting Stormshawl like in this weird way. I also really liked the progression of the story, like where it
Hmm.
started like very dreamy and cute. Like oh, chance meeting in this, beautiful place with the stars, and then we go to a masked ball and we have a feast. And then it like started almost like not degrading, but it came like realer and realer, which I thought
Hmm.
was a really interesting progression to
In a
go from like
dream.
that. Yeah, to go from like that very dreamlike, lighthearted, everything is fun, we're having a moment, ha ha ha, to like those like real heartfelt moments and like to end on like that genuine fear of like, but what if prophecy is gone and it doesn't fix anything and we are left to contend with the reality that myth will fall anyway because it maybe doesn't deserve to stand. Like, and like, what does that mean for Kirian? Like, what does that mean for someone who has sworn to protect it?
Hmm.
Um, and like, just like that sort of that emotional ride, I thought was really, really cool this session. Um, which I think again, like to me, I don't think you get that if you make up the characters for this game, because
Right.
then you kind of adhere a lot to oh, the object of the game is to fall in love. So you create these characters so they can fall in love with each other, which isn't bad. Like that's a really fun way to play it.
Sure.
But I like that, like, sort of halfway, we were like, I don't think they're in love like that necessarily. I don't think that's gonna happen.
No.
But I do think that they have sort of that slightly closer than friend, like, like that really, really intimate friendship is what it felt to me at the end. And that
Yeah.
I could totally see happening,
Yeah.
given who these two characters are.
Yeah.
Um, which I think is really interesting.
I
So
mean, like,
yes.
especially because of the way, like, Kirian falls in love, and then the way that
Hmm.
Stormshawl falls in love. I mean, it's like, it's not necessarily like, mutually exclusive. I mean, like,
Hmm.
it can be similar, but I mean, like, obviously Kirian has already, what is it, kind of like pledged themselves, like, in their own head to
Yeah.
Alston,
Fully in
and
his
then,
own head.
and it's like, Stormshaw's just getting over, okay? He's just getting over. It's
Yeah.
fine.
I love that it's like even in universe, it's actually kind of like a big question if Elston like understands the extent of what Kirian meant when he asked for a token. Like,
Oh,
does
God,
he understand that it was like this really big romantic gesture,
I,
or does he like because he's from like he's myth-born, but he's lived in Crow's Perch for like most of his
yeah,
life. So
I don't
it
think
was
he
like
does.
I don't think that he does either.
Does
I think that he
no,
knows that it meant something, that it was like important to Kirian.
but not.
I yeah, I don't think he understands that to Kirian this was basically a do you want to marry me? Like
No, I don't think he
basically
did.
what it was.
No. I think only
And
Oh shit. I
yeah.
don't Oh shit. I think only a mythborn and somebody raised in the chivalric do,
Exactly, because it is like in universe, like this is like an old, like a very old thing from the stories. Like even knights don't do this anymore.
nope.
Like asking
Nope.
for favors and tokens to wear.
Mhm.
So like even for a chivalric knight, that would be like, man, that's really old what you're at. Like it would kind of be like if I ask someone to wear their favor like now, and they'd be like, yeah, I know what that means from stories, but people don't do that anymore.
No,
So
no.
I think that's like such an interesting like little question mark on that relationship where like does Elson even realize would he have agreed if he did? And Kirian is of course like I mean he was like fully on board with it and then like things happened between the squire and Elston and I was like, oh fuck, maybe he doesn't know. So it's like really awkward. But yeah, I just think yeah, as we were saying, like it's such an interesting kind of unspoken language because he cannot fully like have that kind of relationship. So it does get really murky, like where is the line, what he considers
Yeah.
friendship and yeah.
But also
Um,
too, I mean, like, it's also some stuff in his own head because of the
mhm.
stories. Like
Exactly.
he's got his own narrative. Like that's the thing. He's got his own narrative in his head,
He
which
really
may
does.
not match up with reality once
Yeah.
So
And I thought that too was like such a fun thing to explore in this dream because yeah, Kirian, like as he said, like maybe that's why I'm here because I'm a dreamer even when I'm wide awake.
yeah, that was
And
a
I
beautiful
feel
line.
like
So
like
beautiful.
I think that is like very true to who Kirian is. Like honestly, if I could change his title, I would not call him Hopebringer. I would call him Kirian the Dreamer because I
Yeah.
feel like that's what people would call him.
Yeah.
And like both the positive and the negative connotations of
Mm-hmm.
that, right?
For
Like
sure.
I think he is that kind of person that can elevate you because he believes the world is much better than it is, but he's also like rightfully kind of getting called out like, okay, but what are you gonna do when reality comes for you? Because
Right.
you ain't living in it. Not
Yeah.
right now.
But I mean,
Um,
does this inform like does like after this experience though, will it inform your will it inform the way you play Kyrian from now on? I'm just curious.
I think a little bit. Like, I do want to be careful that I don't put in too much so that
Oh
people
yeah.
don't have the context.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna have Kirian like referencing the end of prophecy before like Ben brings
Oh
that
yeah.
up or
Sure,
something,
sure, sure.
because I
Sure.
don't feel like that's for me to
Oh
to
yeah.
decide.
Right, but I mean, like,
Um,
but since it is a dream, it's like like it's a big question mark kind of thing,
mhm,
and like if you don't mind, it's like I do want to post this, but I mean, obviously, it'll be more of
totally.
like I'm going to link this and say, go watch Arctosaurus, like series.
Yeah, I feel like if people want to watch it,
Yeah.
I think that's really fun. But like it's also sort of with the side scenes, like I do want to be careful that people who haven't read them don't feel like, wait, there's like homework I needed to do. Like, I feel like anything that happens in the session is public knowledge and then everything
Yeah.
which I
Sure.
do think was very funny because like all the Elston stuff happened in a side scene. So the two
Well,
other cadre members suddenly see Kirian walk up to this dude that they've never met before, ask for his token, and then see his squire make out with that same dude.
oh my God. Oh my
Both of them were
God.
like, okay, so
What?
we clearly missed something. It
Yeah.
was so funny.
Yeah.
Just
Which
absolutely fell in love off screen and is now devoting his life to this guy.
Well, I mean, again, and it's like it's kind of a little bit the same way with Stormshawl and Moonchild a little bit, even though like Night Flame will probably take most of the credit of like I'm gonna get these two together kind of thing. But I mean, a lot of it did happen in the kind of like side scenes where it's like
Hmm.
they were together in like the Arcanum alone, but not doing anything really. And then and then also like going out to like at least experience the nighttime in the rain, and then like being able to see the stars and the moons with no repercussions since it didn't affect Moonchild anymore and stuff like that. I mean, so
Hmm.
these are things that that did happen inside scenes that just, yeah, I mean, whether people, know about this or not, I mean, like, it is what it is. But again, it's
Hmm.
like, but the whole thing with the the confrontation that happened in the sessions. So
Hmm.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's definitely something that I want to take away because I feel like more and more Kirian's arc really is about, that corruption and what when you start realizing that these things that you so deeply believed in aren't true.
Hmm.
And I think if we go with prophecy breaking for everyone, like that again is like another big thing where it's like, what does that mean? Like, what does that mean for doing the right thing and the good thing? Because that changes everything, right?
Yeah.
Um, I think if there ever is a crossover, which I do hope that we get like cadre crossovers, if Kirian and Stormshawl meet, then I'm totally up for like having them be like, did I meet you in a dream?
Yeah. I think, I mean, he would probably hesitate for a second before he would like try to like talk to you and say, I know I talked to you. I know I said something to you, and I know you helped me, and he'd probably try to greet you like an old friend, which
Hmm.
it felt
Yeah.
like.
Yeah. Are you gonna play Stormshawl different or like in a way that he remembers or takes what Kirian said to him with him?
Oh, well, I mean, like, since I'm not going to play him right away, I mean, it's
Hmm.
going to be a little bit different, but when I do, to at least kind of close out OG cadre, um, like definitely he's going to take what Kirian has said too hard. Yeah. So,
That's really sweet. Yeah.
yeah.
Kira's like, wait, somebody listened, it worked.
Yeah. No, no,
Fucking
no.
imagine that shit.
Yeah, no, no. I mean, like it's gonna be like where, and also too, like enough time has passed in the purple dimension, purple moon dimension,
Hmm.
to be able to help him just kind of like not be so like close to it, I guess. Like, so when he
Hmm.
finally is come back to himself, whenever that is, maybe not a lot of time has passed in the waking world or whatever, and he can like look at Moonchild with some sadness, but realize it's like that ain't gonna work, man.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
this
be
isn't
honest
it.
about it. Yeah, this ain't it. It's fine. It's all
Much
cool.
valid. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's fine. It's gonna be what it is, and especially if, again, that sacrifice has to come a lot sooner than expected, regardless of prophecy breaking or not, because we got
Hmm.
to get the fuck out of hubris, and if somebody's got to push the rest of them out,
Yeah.
somebody's got to do it.
Kirian's prophesized death is by betrayal. And we've set up, which was really funny because when I wrote that defeat, it was kind of implied that Kirian like getting Ironwood, that he would die during that because it's implied to be a betrayal to his king and his vows. But by now we have set up like so many possible people, and it's
Mm-hmm.
really because we've got Leander, El's character, who's
Mm-hmm.
basically told by Queen Isolde, like, yeah, let Kirian search for Ironwood. Just make sure that he fails so that we know, like, so that like it is known that he failed and he wasn't worthy of any of this. So that's a possible death. If we go with Elston, who is, of the enemy,
Mm-hmm.
there's that possible betrayal, and even his squire, Leander, kind of got into her head. So that one, I think honestly, that one would break me the most because they're such besties.
Yeah.
But I could see it.
Yeah.
It could happen.
I mean, originally, I was setting up the sacrifice to be like around the time of the Tower Wizards thing. It's like, whatever
Mm.
needed to happen to get the Sky Castle to crash and not come back to myth, fuckers. It's like not gonna have that doom, come to myth. But again, I mean, like whatever needs to happen to get the rest of them back. I
Mhm.
mean, Stormshaw wants to save as many people as he can, but I think he's gotten to really care about his cadre, especially after like what drove him initially was like he's pissed off at half of them, for the Tower Wizard Doom, it's like, oh fuck. So now he's kind of like making up for it, you know, especially having worked so well with them um, so far. So why not? I mean, it doesn't. At this point, I'm kind of like I'm okay with closing out on him because he's such a volatile person to play, and I'm
Yeah.
would be glad to play somebody a lot calmer and a
Yeah,
bit
if you feel like it's getting
and a bit smarter
difficult to play, yeah.
and a bit smarter. No offense to my boy, but damn.
So valid. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also had a character die, but that was more because I was like, I feel like our cadre like needed a little push, and like the story in general like sort of needed that big oh shit, oh fuck. Because it like started all like very kind of, like fuck around, find out, like kind of that, like, oh, we're just doing shit. We're just kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall, seeing what sticks. And I was like, no, it feels like we need to sort of have that escalation where it kind of starts out funny and then ends on that, like, that typical like episode where a series is like, it's all kind of fun, lighthearted, and then it like, no, a main character is dead now.
Hmm.
Like, this is what we're doing.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
not
yeah.
fucking around, actually. The
Yeah.
stakes are always incredibly high.
Yes.
Um, and I think we absolutely got that, which was very satisfying because I don't usually like character death because I'm of like the school of thought where it's like death ends a story. So you can only do it if the story is told or if it's like the most interesting thing. And usually I find like the more interesting thing is to continue that story.
Hmm.
But with Moondust, I was like, no, I think it's more interesting what she can mean like for the others in the story.
Nice.
And it's been very wild. Or like the sweetest cadre member, her sister has now vowed revenge on all her followers and her god and is now plotting to kill a god. um, and
Go
everyone's kind
big
of
or go
like,
home.
exactly. And her grand whatever father, it was like, this really isolated, like I don't give a shit about people. I'm like rough and aloof and like now he's going like, well, fuck, I cared about someone and now they're dead. So they're having like a whole mental breakdown. And it's just really fun to see all of them like go, well, fuck.
Well, at least they gave a shit. That's a good thing, you know?
That is a good shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Otherwise,
think that
otherwise
would
it
be
didn't
like
mean
the
anything.
saddest thing. Yeah, if you do like the death scene, everybody's like, all right, we're moving on.
Like the end of the Truman Show.
Yeah. All right, moving on.
Yeah, it's like, what's
We
on there?
change
Change the
we
channel.
changed the channel. Yeah, whatever. It's good.
Exactly. Oh my god. Oh, the worst. But yeah, no, this is a really awesome game to play, and again, very cathartic to go through. Going from the lighthearted into the very serious, and just being able to just vent or get it off his chest. And yeah, no, I mean, like it was a really great way to kind of get back into the character, even though I'm not gonna
Hmm.
revisit the character for a little bit longer. But yeah, I'm just interested to see how this plays out. If it does, I mean, if it doesn't, great, and if it does what it does, it's it'll work out. I mean,
Hmm.
because this whole idea of the multi cadre world is just incredible, and I just love the work that's been done with it. So I don't even know what kind of character I'm gonna play next. To be honest, I'm just like I have no idea. So.
I'm playing two very opposite characters, which is very fun. You have like as you've met him, like very sincere,
Mm-hmm.
idealistic, dreaming Kirian, and then the Roamer Queen is very much like, like tough love. I shoot my problem, like not I shoot my problems first, but like definitely not adverse to violence and like very much like more street level
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
kind of person. Whereas Kirian is very much like he's up there in the sky. Like we've mentioned it several times, but he does not live in
Mm-mm.
the world everybody else lives in.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
And I'm sure that will never hurt him.
no, no, not at
Never.
all. Not at all. Yeah, I'm just wondering whether I want to. I'm fairly sure I'm going to be playing somebody of a different power level for sure.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, Stormshawl knows like a lot of names, but I think like this next person probably will be a different class altogether. And yeah, maybe just a little bit more street or common sense savvy, I hope. God help us. Just,
I believe in you.
I hope so, because yeah. Definitely won't be falling in love anytime soon. It's like, ugh,
Ugh,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, yeah, Kirian is he's lost. His heart is lost, even though the guy he lost it to is probably like Schrodinger's romance, really. Like we'll have to find out in post.
I'm so sorry. Ah, well, I mean, it is what it is.
It is what it is. But I think Kirian, I mean, he would at least pretend to be okay with that because, he doesn't feel this way to have it returned. He
Yeah,
just feels this way, and that's
yeah,
just,
and that's fine. Feeling your
yeah, it's
feeling your
fine.
feelings is fine. That's all good. That's all fine.
Someone should tell Kirian that for real, yeah.
Look now. I mean, like he didn't spend enough time in in the dreaming dimension with Stormshaw. It's
Mhm.
like it's
No.
fine.
But yeah. Yeah, thank you so much for playing.
Thank
We're getting
you.
close to close ending time. This was really fun.
Very fun.
Um, and I would be up to rescheduling the trophy game if that
Ah,
works out for
yes.
everyone.
Yeah,
Um,
I hope to. I mean, like again, it just worked out like to just like schedule on a U.S. holiday, but yeah, time snafus and time zones. Yippee skippy! Why
time
am I not
zone's the worst.
surprised? So anyway, hope to reschedule like sometime, and then we'll go from there. Especially because the group, like I said, was incredibly feral, and it's like I want to see you three play. Holy shit,
Mhm.
that would have been bazonkers. So definitely enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All
All right.
right.
Have a
See you
great rest of your day.
around.
See
Thank you for
ya.
playing.
Thank you.